Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parr, editor-in-chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine. Today, we are taking center stage on the Own It magazine and publishing platform. I have one of my favorite CWs in the house. Me and this girl, we go way, way back. I tell you, let me go ahead and bring Coach Lora on in the house.
All right.
Hey,
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so excited to finally get here with you.
yes, I'm so excited. So, welcome. This is our Wellness Wednesday, and we are here to share some tips and tools to teach y'all how to just be well out there.
Yes.
So, Coach
Yes.
Laura, please just take a moment to introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do. We're going to go and dig on it.
Okay. Hi, I am Coach Lora. I am in North Carolina right now. I work with women 50 and over, helping them to build strength, achieve their successes in life because of where we come from. I basically work with them to build strength, reduce stress, and increase metabolic resilience through my strong method, which focuses on strength training, mindset building, and nervous system regulation. I think that, what was it, Tiffany? You asked me something else. I think I got it all. Did
Oh,
I?
yeah, you got it
I
all.
think
Yeah,
I
you're
got it
going to who you are, where you're from.
all. I'm not going too far. Just like that.
You
But
got
I
it.
really want, I also, building strength is really one of the biggest things at this point because I like to encourage women 50 and over that you're not on a decline. You're
Mm,
evolving. You're evolving into what you were always meant to be. And so it's not time to stop. It's time to just refocus. That's
that's
all it is.
that's
Refocus.
right. Time to dig in and find those new passions, right?
Yes. This is the time. This is the time. I mean, we're at that stage of life, right?
That's right.
We've seen so much, right? We've experienced so much. So now it's time, and we know who we are. It's
Right.
just that we just have to kind of change that mindset of what we've been taught. That's
Right.
all.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Coach Laura, why did you decide to focus on coaching women that midlife, that 50 and up? I mean, I know that honestly it is the sweet spot in life, but like what made because there's a lot of things that a lot of people you could have coached out there. So what made you choose women over 50?
Well, Tiffany, for me, fitness has always been in my life, right? I've always wanted to do this, and I always said I wanted to do this, and as I retire, but never did I think that it would be 50 and over, because I guess I wasn't thinking 50 and over. But, for me, it's because I went through it, right?
Yeah.
I hit a certain point in my life, and I saw things changing. I saw what I did before not working anymore. I saw the
Mm,
foods that I ate all my life started making me upset, I started losing body strength and energy. And so for me, started focusing on what can I do to make my life better, right? I was there was a threat of some medication, right? And I
mhm.
think it was right at that perimenopausal. And at that time, I wasn't even looking at it that way. I was
Yeah.
54 because they didn't tell us this, right? I was
Yeah.
54 and it was like right in that menopause because I was just really stopping, my cycles. My blood pressure was high. They wanted
Mm,
to put me on blood pressure like for the rest of my life, right? That's what they do.
mm.
And they was telling me that it was just hereditary. They said, it's just hereditary. And I said, yeah. And it just didn't sit right with me. And so I made some other choice. I said, you know what? And I did. I took the medicine for 1 week, right?
Mhm.
But at that time, I still didn't know that this was a menopausal thing. I will
Mm.
say that I focused on women 50 and over for their health, for the things that I went through, the body changes, the hormonal changes. Didn't hit me until maybe about a year. I took a menopause specialist
Mhm.
certification. And that's when I really dug into it, right? And I really got to understand. So it wasn't something I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a menopause coach. I'm going to be a coach for midlife women. I just happened to be there. I'm one of those midlife women.
Right.
And so it just made sense for what I learned and what I understood about the body. And mind you, I've been in fitness, I've been doing this for over 30 years, right?
Yeah.
So I could see, like, wait a minute, something's not right. So the study shows that, we have to do it a little different. So that's
Right.
how I got there. That's how I got here. I've never thought, wow, menopause,
Right.
but now I can see the power in it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
can see the power in the wisdom that we have, right? The
Right.
power, and once we decide to make those changes in our body, they were like, oh no, we don't have to be. It was, to me, it was that I don't want to be the big ma, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be the big ma because big ma was the one that always had extra weight, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Always had some health issues, whatever,
Right.
and was soft around the belly,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was always just told that that's just it. This is
That's
what you
just
got.
us.
That's
Right.
it. You're getting older, so get used to it. And
Mm-mm.
so I guess that's how I got here, if the long way. But yeah, I didn't purposely decide that's what I wanted to do. I knew I was going to be in fitness. I knew that I was going to do this as I lay my head down for the last time, right? But
Yeah.
I didn't know I would only be in midlife women. So I really want us, because we deserve it.
Right.
We
Yeah. No,
de- we de-
absolutely.
we deserve a life of bliss. You understand?
That
We
part.
deserve a life of least resistance, which is something I've learned. Um, we don't deserve a life of stress. We've raised children, we've husbands, we've taken care of everybody, parents. Now it's time to take care of us. Let me say this one thing that I always used to say. People, and I put this in a writing that I did. They always say, "Well, go get your annual checkups, get
Mm-hmm.
your mammogram." We did all of that, right? We did that, but why is it that we're still having issues, right? We need to go a little further. We need to
Mm-hmm.
go further because it's not just about mammograms. It's not just about annual checkups. It's
Right.
about what are we intentionally doing daily?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How are we taking care of our mind,
Right.
right? How are we taking care of stress levels? So all of that comes into play.
Right.
Are we getting sun? All of those things. So,
Yeah. And what are we eating? Right. I mean,
and
it
what are
all,
we eating? Right.
what are we eating and what are we drinking? Right. I mean, it's
Yes. Yes.
everything that you
Yes.
put in your body and everything that you put on it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
gotta look at that
Yeah, I
too.
know. And that's that part. That part where that's the part. And I think it can be overwhelming, right? It
Yeah.
could be overwhelming, and I understand that. So when I'm coaching ladies, you can't you can't do it all at once, right?
No.
You
Mm-mm.
gotta. It's my old saying: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a
One
time.
bite at a time.
One
Right.
bite at a time. And it's the same way with our habits, right? My
Yeah.
my method is to coach you into one habit at a time.
That's it.
One
That's it.
habit at a time, because we can't take it all at once.
No,
When
not
you
at all.
try to give it to all one, like
Right. We're done with it, right? Or you go all in, right, for a minute, but you can't sustain that. So
exactly,
being able
and
to,
that's more important.
right, slow and steady. I mean, shoot,
Yes,
it took me 3 years to lose almost 120 pounds,
yes,
but slow and steady.
yes,
Well, I got
yes,
to where I would need it to be, and just all those lessons along the way. And I think it's just amazing that you're using your journey and all the different things that you learned, in yourself to be able to take that and teach others, because that's really what makes that amazing coach, because
yes.
you've already been through it, you already got to the other side. And I'm looking at you over there, sis. You look amazing.
Thank
So
you.
we already know that you're walking the walk while you're talking the talk,
Yeah,
okay?
and that's what's most important for me, Tiffany. That was always key.
Yeah.
I because I've been in fitness so long and been doing it, I would look at things, look at other people, and like, everybody's doing. But for me, it was something that's always been here,
Mhm.
right? And it is not something I just teach. It's what I walk.
Yeah.
I had a lady as a neighbor, and I was telling her about this cauliflower pizza I went and bought, right? I was like, well, this cauliflower pizza, it's a veggie pizza. It's
Mhm.
cauliflower. And she was like, oh, yeah, yeah, I am, because my focus is nutrition,
Right.
right? Nutrients is, am I giving my body what it needs to thrive,
Yeah.
to live, to continue to grow? And
Right.
so, yeah, I'm going to be, my birthday is Monday, March 9th. I'll be 63 years old. I don't feel 63. I don't feel, I, I don't feel it. And I
No,
know that,
look
but
it, and you do not look it at all. Okay. I know. Look, I know some jaws dropped.
But the other part is one of my things that I say and always say, you are training right now, you are preparing for your 80-year-old self,
Right.
you know, and you have to make a decision what you want to be like, what you want to look like. Looks is not everybody, we have a level of vanity, right? And I know
Yeah.
I do, but it's really not that important when it really comes down to your health,
Mm-hmm.
being mobile,
Right.
being strong enough to carry your grocery,
Mm-hmm.
being strong enough to get up and out of a chair.
Right.
Those are the things that
Right.
those are the things that we're going to value. Being strong enough to be able to take care of yourself in your own home,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
I don't want my children to have to take care of me.
Yeah. Yeah. And my mom is definitely a an inspiration with that. She's 82.
Okay.
82, 83. I always forget. I mean, but
Either
look,
way, 80 something.
looks amazing. And this woman will walk, she'll go walk in the park. If the weather's nice, she's walking in the park and she's going 5 miles, 6 miles.
Oh, that's
And if
awesome.
it's raining outside, she's on her stationary bike, doing miles on the stationary bike, lives in a 2-story home where she gets up the stairs with ease. But that's because she's continued to move, continue
Exactly.
what she
Exactly.
puts in her body is good stuff. It's
Yeah.
nutrient dense, good stuff. So she's my champion,
That's
and
wonderful.
definitely,
That's
um,
wonderful. Yeah, yeah. And that's good. That's great that you have, because that always helps. And I'm hoping that I be that for my daughters, right?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
hoping that my daughters look and say, yeah. And that's really a goal. And not just my daughter, my nieces, other younger, even since I've gotten on this hormonal menopausal stage, I think about now my nieces. My oldest daughter is 39, but I got a niece that's 41,
mhm,
so they're approaching that perimenopausal,
right,
right?
mhm,
And really it starts earlier for a lot of them that we just didn't know about,
didn't
right?
know.
So I'm hoping to be that encourager,
Oh, I love it,
that
love
inspiration.
it. So tell us, how do you define, resilience in fitness?
Well, resilience for fitness for women 50 and over, I think looks different than when we were 30s and 40s, right? Resilience is not pushing past, you know, pain,
Mhm.
right? We were taught no pain, no gain.
Hard.
No pain, no gain. And, I said that to myself over, repeatedly. So resilience is basically restructuring how you do things, right? Not pushing, but allowing yourself to um, capitalize on the restoration piece as well, right? So you go and you push, but you're not pushing past that pain. If your body is tired, if you are sore, and you may need to take a break.
Right.
And I had to learn that, right? Because when I do that, when I go back, I'm stronger. And I'll just say this. I had to do that this past couple of weeks, and I had been kind of struggling with trying to drop a pound or two. When I say that I didn't go to the gym for a couple of days, where did those pounds go? They came right on off.
It goes
Because
quick.
Yeah, because we have to have that rest. We have to have that time of restoration, right?
Hmm.
Our bodies need it.
Yeah.
So we do need to go hard. It's hard to maybe 2 to 3 days, especially in the strength training. But
Yeah.
then we got to have that recovery.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
need recovery. And sometimes we are between 48 hours, 72 hours of recovery, right?
Hmm.
And it's okay. We that's not what we were told when we were younger. I know
Right.
that's not what I did.
Yeah, me either. Not at all. Not at all.
But as you get past that 55, going into the 60, even now over that 60 mark, I will say you do get another level at 60,
Hmm.
whereas that 55 is that perimenopausal before 60.
Hmm.
You have to really be careful. You need your sleep, you need your nutrition, you need your mindset, you need your recovery. And not that you don't need it. And HIIT is another thing, right? We were big on high intensity training. We just
Right.
do it. We have to do it a different way. We don't need an hour of high intensity training.
Hmm.
Cardio. We don't need an hour of cardio. Actually, an hour of cardio just backfire, right? And that's what it does. It actually stresses your body enough to make your body and your cortisol, it holds on to the fat opposed to releasing it. And that's
Right.
what I saw. So, it's so resilience, it's really not just pushing through,
Hmm.
but kind of taking it to a more of a calmer state, right? When you
Yeah.
think about resilience, what do you think about? What do you think about when you think about resilience?
I
Kind
mean,
of
when I
looking for a little note.
think about resilience, I think about, I mean, it is pushing through something, but
Hmm.
so you can get to that other side, right? But
Right.
I get where we have to make that change,
Hmm.
because yeah, going hard, I can't go hard anymore. I just turned 50 and I know I can't go hard anymore. When I go
Yeah.
hard, I hurt,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and I don't wanna hurt. I don't wanna be sat down, because I went
No.
too hard. And I know also, I mean, when you just that tip right there, when you go to, too much cardio and you're going so hard and you're stressing your body, and then you're wondering, "Oh my God, I'm working out so much, I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm gaining weight." That's why.
Absolutely.
Why.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's kind of backfiring.
Right.
It's doing the reverse of what we wanted to do.
Mhm.
And sometimes us as women, we are trained to push, right? To push
Right.
past. I don't feel good, but I need to just keep going.
Just keep
You
going.
know, yeah,
Mhm.
my body hurt, but I just got to keep going because somebody got to do it, right? Somebody got to. And we already have that mentality, right? But we don't. It takes extra for us to sit back and say, you know what, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna rest. How many times you rest and you be like, oh, I should be doing something. What am I
Right.
doing?
Yeah, you have to go crazy looking around. Yeah.
You're feeling guilty because you're resting,
Right.
and we have to get to a point where we allow our bodies to rest
Yeah.
because we overstress them. And our hormones are saying, not no more,
Mhm.
and it's really a matter of listening to our bodies,
Yeah.
right? At this point, it's very a lot of things that is going on are signals, right? Signals telling us you need to make a change, we need to tweak something, we need to pay attention to it, not push past it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what we've been taught. We've been taught to just push on, just keep going because somebody is relying on us. You
Right.
know, somebody, we got to do this for somebody. And that's why love oneself, that's where that comes from. Love oneself, fitness and wellness, because we have to learn to love ourselves the way that we have loved others.
Yes, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know,
So now I've heard you talk about strength training, and that's a lot of times us as women, I notice this being training people in the gym, that stuff. Women don't like to lift weights because they think that they're gonna get too big and all that kind of stuff. And I know that in this time of our life, because of the fact that there is a muscle I mean, it's a decline.
It's decrease. Yes,
It's a
yes,
decrease. It's a decline, and we know it, right? I mean, you can see it.
yes,
So
yes.
let's talk about building muscle in our 50s and what that looks like. Because I know you said you got to go a little bit harder, you got to go a little, you know,
Right. Right.
heavier. Let's talk about that a little bit, and also tell us about your muscle blueprint, because I know I'd
Okay.
like to hear about that.
Great. Well, you know what? You're absolutely right. Women have always kind of been afraid of lifting weights.
Mhm.
And I will tell you that I was afraid when I started years ago, years ago. And one first thing I said when I started, like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm going to be bulky. I'm going to be, and I learned and I found out that no, you're not, because first of all, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to lift enough like that. Then it's a special diet. It's a nutrition that you have to kind of go on. But for us after 50, it's so essential, and I put it so serious, is lose it. I mean, use it or lose it. And
Mm,
that's just really the bottom line there. There's
yeah.
no other way. Um, After 50, we start losing, basically you start losing muscle mass at 30, right? Depending on
Mm,
what you're doing. But it accelerates after 50, right? The percentage increase, right? And so what happens is you're losing muscles, and then what that's also going to do is affect your bones,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Because your muscles is around protecting your bones, and as they go down, then the bone density, and so as we get older, that's where the frailty comes in, the different of the body composition, right?
Yeah.
How you get older and you be like, wait a minute, where did this body shape come from, right? This is not the shape I was used to, right? And that's because of the changes that's happening, in your body. So muscles not only affect your body, right? Give you that toneness. It's also your brain. It's a cognitive thing, right? As well.
Mm-hmm.
Muscle is so important for our cognitive abilities and strength. So when I say don't be afraid, or women got to be over progressive with it, you can't. I don't mean that you start there, right? Everybody got to start where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't been lifting any kind of weights, then I would suggest that you go start with 15, 20, 30 pound weights, right? Because, but I do want you to start with where it's going to affect you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you don't have to, we were taught to, and I know I did this for years, the repetition, the more repetition, that's the tone, right? Isn't that what we were taught?
Right.
But when you get past that 50, you start seeing it's not really, it's not doing anything. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I literally saw that in my body. I'm like, wait a minute, especially my legs. I'm like, I am lifting. Where is my muscles going? Right. And so I had to start lifting heavy. So you start small. So I would have someone that first come in with strength training. I wouldn't say start even with 10 pounds. I need you to see, take a weight and see how many reps you can do, right? And anywhere between 6 to 8, I would stop there. If you can do over 8, if you can get to 10, 11, 12, it's probably too light.
Yeah, go heavier.
Yeah, go a little bit heavier, because you
Mm-hmm.
do want, the only way we're going to be able to change that muscle and it is to increase that muscle fiber by
Mm-hmm.
stressing it, right? And
Yeah.
I don't mean over stressing it, but stressing it enough where the fiber can grow. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where we are with the strong, building up that strength. So I would say, so I got to a point where I can do a 20, like 25,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I maybe can do 3 of the 25,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
um, but I was doing 10 and 15 forever.
Yeah.
you know, and it wasn't, but I had to learn to, as I started getting heavier, I can see the muscle building, right? And because of the way that our bodies, because of the estrogen level dropping,
Mm-hmm.
um, we lose that growth, that testosterone, which also is part of the muscle that we need. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, that's why we have to, and we're not getting into the nutrition part yet, but all
Yeah.
of that comes into play, right? The protein, all of that comes into play to help build that muscle. So that is so important. Is if we don't build it, if we don't do any kind of strength training, then we're going to lose it. And a lot of say you start with your body weight. That's important as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you still move from that too. You
Yeah.
know, you might do that a couple weeks, but then after a couple weeks, I'll say 1 to 3 weeks. Let's say you're at one weight, then we're going to move you to the next level because that is the only way it's going to build. You
Right.
can't build it by staying in the same place.
That's
Okay. So
absolutely.
it's so important. I've had men ask me that sometimes, just about what we're doing. I'm like, I assume it would be the same for you. But it is afraid. Women who are afraid, don't be afraid. You will feel so much power within your body. When you're able to, like you said, your mom walk up and down the steps. One of
Yeah.
the things that I continually will do is walk up and down the steps because I said I want to be able to, right?
Yes.
I want to be able to walk up and down the step, even though sometimes you're tired of walking up and down the step, but doing it keeps you in that active mode. So that's so important. So say for instance, you're not ready to pick up a weight. Sometimes what we're doing just when we're walking, get a
Mm-hmm.
weighted vest. Put on a
Yeah.
weighted vest and walk with your weighted vest because you're slowly going to be strengthening your bones that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ways to start. You can start with the bands.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't stay there, right? But what we say, how do you get there? How do just one step at a time? And it's
Right.
the same way. But the thing is to start. And it's
Yeah.
never too late to start.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm loving this conversation, sis. Oh my goodness. But look, we get on here and the time goes like this.
I know, I know.
Coach Laura on with us so much. So y'all are gonna see a lot more of her. But Coach Laura,
Oh, I
please.
forgot to tell you about the blueprint, the book. Okay, so I do have, and I want you guys to get it. I did create a Stronger After 50, which is a building muscle blueprint ebook. So that's to kind of help you get started. So that will be available in the link below. I think Tiffany will get that to you. But yeah, go ahead and take a look at that. If you have any questions, then just let me know.
Yeah, definitely get this muscle blueprint, y'all, for sure. So, Coach Laura, what are some words of wisdom, words of encouragement that you can give to just provide to our audience? It's Wellness Wednesday, and we just really want everyone out there to just be well. Just get on the other side of whatever it is that you are going through. And really, this is for the ladies that are 50 and up, because we already know we going through a lot of stuff out there.
I
And
know.
also know how they can connect with you as well, if they want to work with you and if they want to tap into some of the other resources that you have.
All right, great. Well, I guess one thing that I would want to encourage women is to just be intentional. Be intentional about your health, be intentional about your wellness. Um, they say health is wealth. When you have health problems, money doesn't matter as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be able to um, pay attention to your body. Ask the doctor questions. Um, you're with yourself every day. And so I always say, be a captain, be the CEO of your health, and let the medical be your team, right? So you have to take charge of some things and you have to read up on some things, but pay attention to your body because your body is giving you messages, it's giving you signals. When something is not like your stomach is not right, you eat something, that's a signal.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, this is bad food, or it's a signal telling you something is not agreeing with you.
Mm-hmm.
Either it's your chemistry, something, your microbiome, which is your gut, something is off, but pay attention and don't just ignore it. Don't push past it. Love yourself. Love yourself, empower yourself, be strong, be resilient, but resilient mean taking the time to say, maybe I need to rest. Maybe I need to recover. And sometimes maybe I need to do something that's just fun. Movement can be different things. Movement does not mean the gym all the time. Now, weight training is something specific, right? But movement could be something you like to do. You like to skate. Not every woman over 50 like to skate. You like to walk in the park. you know, hey, Tiffany does that.
I do fit boots. I love them.
Right. Tiffany and her feet boots. I mean, now that's pretty active, but it does not always have to be that. Maybe it's some, I encourage, get up out your chair. You work in the office, take 10 squats every hour.
Yeah.
Just air squats. Do some air squats. Do a little stretching. Stand up and stretch your back. And one thing I guess I want to say, and anything I want to say is, if you do a little bit of stretching every day, then you will find that the soreness is not as bad. We wake up with aches, right? And so that's why we want to make sure that we focus on that. And then, I know you said one tip. I also want to encourage everyone to, and you probably know this, Tiffany, but one thing I do in the morning, I add, and this will reduce, and maybe we could talk about this on the other show. I was going to say it was an anti-inflammatory kind of meal, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I guess that's my one thing I want to say is that you are not in a decline. You are in the evolution stage. Menopause does not mean you're done. Being 50 and 60 does not mean it's over for you. It does not mean that you have to accept less. You just have to reorganize. That's all. That's all you have to do is kind of recalculate how you do things. It's not the same. But when I stand here to say as a witness, you will feel better. And when you're able to do certain things, like I watch myself carry my grocery, and it's like, people probably like, wow, but I'm happy to be able to carry that, right? So you just have to really focus on your body, be intentional, always be intentional about what you're doing, about what you're putting in your body, and what you're moving.
And how can they get in touch with you?
You can go to my website is Love Oneself, which is love is with a U. So it's LUV oneself, ONE self SELF.com. LoveOneself.com. You can go on there. There's a calendar there. You can reach me that way. Basically, you can reach me Love Oneself Fitness and Love Oneself 50 Plus on Instagram. You can catch me Lora Jerdine on Facebook. I also have another page, which is Jerdine's Faith Fitness. So there's all kind of ways to reach me. Some of my ladies, if you're interested, there's a group called Fab Fit Ladies 50 Plus, because we are fabulous. We are still fabulous over 50, and we're going to stay fabulous. So all of those ways, if you want to get in touch with me, but the best way is to go to the website, Love Oneself Fitness and Wellness, and you will be able to see, you'll see some blogs, you can see some writings, and then you can kind of see some of my program, how I do things, and more information about me.
Awesome. Well, Coach Lora, thank you so much for joining me today for this Wellness Wednesday. This has been so amazing. You have dropped so many nuggets, and I hope y'all got your pens and your pads out, taking these notes, watch the replay, save it, do what you got to do, and definitely subscribe to Own It Magazine. We are Phoenix Fitness, which is the health and wellness heartbeat of Own It. So you definitely want to tap in. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Happy Wellness Wednesday, everybody.